You know those words, they hurt me. You'd found out what made me angry, then use it to your ability. Now you're trying to avoid me. You're the big problem here, a bully to many for so many years. Now shut your mouth, close your ears. Never learned your lesson and nobody cares. That's what you're here for, here to make me miserable. I know you get joy out of it. You hurt me but call me the same names again. You know I never liked them, and that's so unforgivable. I know you ruined my childhood. You hurt me and do it all over again. You ruined my childhood. You hurt me and do it all over again.
This is Fantasy-esque and welcome back to the Sims 4 Royal Witch Kingdoms. Today we are picking up with the royal family of Holcane. High King Edmund and now Queen Luna have gotten married. So Holcane is now a complete family, unlike what we had going on before. And this family has had a bit of a turbulent recent history, and that has not changed. In fact, the wedding, I thought went smoothly, and then things started happening. So we're going to get into some of that in a second here, but let's quickly discuss what happened in the movie. So obviously Edmund, he has been, I think, in love with Luna for a very long time. They were good friends, or he was, I think, just struck by her beauty when he was young, and he met her as his Vlaro's betrothed for the first time. But he became good friends with her at first. And then once Vex died, right? High Prince Vex died, his Vlaro, then he started stepping in a little bit more to help take care of Prince Luther when he was born, and then, in his childhood years. So as, he got older, I think he started falling in love with Luna, and then he decided that rather than taking on a new queen, he would install Luna as his queen, and he would marry her and then take care of her. So in the beginning of the movie, while he was getting ready, Luther was in his chamber, and Luther was basically congratulating him and saying, it's finally your wedding day, tetrular kotro, and that means royal uncle. And Edmund asked Luther whether or not he was okay with this union, and Luther said, I never knew my kotian, I never knew my father, and you are the closest thing that I have to him, that I've ever had to him, so I don't mind, you have my blessing. And that meant a lot to High King Edmund. So then we had the wedding ceremony, as we know, and one thing I want to point out, when these Sims were getting ready, something that just tugged at my heartstrings was the fact that I think in Luna's shot in her room, you could see the wedding portrait of her and Vex, and this is her second marriage, and it's the only witch marriage we've had where someone has remarried. We've had a widow that's remarried. So that was kind of a big deal, I feel. And then if you look at the Holcane wedding vows, one of the lines that the bride and groom say to each other is, I cast upon you, I think it's on this night, I cast upon you a spell of the permanent kind. So at least in Holcane rituals, it's considered when you're saying those vows that have to do with love and commitment, it's considered a permanent sort of thing. And obviously, because of the royal example that we're seeing here, remarriage isn't looked down upon, but also typically these Sims, they consider only their first spouses to be their true loves, if that makes sense. So for Luna, during this second wedding, she cast upon Edmund's heart a spell of the permanent kind in her vows, right? Not literally, in her vows. And so Edmund, would be in love with her. She is Edmund's first love, but it's not the same for her because Vex was her first love. Vex was the first one who she said those vows with, and as far as she's concerned, her heart will always be permanently bound to Vex in that regard. So let me know what you guys think about that. Now we have the wedding party going on now. We've invited, because it's a royal wedding, obviously the whole court of Holcane has been invited. We've invited all the royals from the different witch kingdoms, and then maybe some additional nobles who are associated with Edmund, or additional nobles in other kingdoms that Edmund felt inclined to invite. So we have that going on. But there has been some drama. So let's put down the walls and have a look at what exactly is going on. It's still cool to see Luna as queen, but also it's kind of strange seeing her in her wedding outfit again, because we have seen her in this before, and also it's so odd to see Edmund in the wedding outfit. I feel like he looks really good in it. in my opinion. Like, he looks really good in that wedding outfit, but it's strange because we saw this with his brother. Also, just a quick note, the rings, I have decided I'm going to gradually start changing the royal rings that they wear. They had the crystal one beforehand, which I don't know who has a crystal one. You should, Lion should. They had these crystal ones, but I don't like how similar the wedding rings, like the colors, look to the engagement ones. It doesn't differentiate things for me, whereas if you look at the noble ones, they've got like a very clear silver ring if they're betrothed, and then they've got a very clear gold ring if they're married. So I've decided to switch to this metal band that I feel like maybe looks more like a crown ring. So the royals will have the crown ring, whereas the nobles will have the bull ring. So yeah, same system. We've got silver for betrothals and gold for weddings. So slowly we're going to start making those changes. But actually, before I get into that, I also want to show you guys the wedding portrait. So obviously we have Luna and Vex right over there. And then we have this one right here. We have Luna and Edmund now. So that's kind of crazy, but hey, that's what we have going on. And also just cleaned up the background. I'm just going with the plain black background from now on, just because I feel like it. And you know, sometimes I think it's fine to change things like this. Oh, also I've got to delete this real quickly, which will go back on here once they have consummated their marriage. So we'll have that wind chime back up. For now though, we'll have it taken out. And with Luna, when she married Vex, they were in these quarters here. Also, I'm going to delete this. They were in these quarters because at the time Vex was High Prince. But now that she's queen, she is going to... I'm not sure still if she would stay in her old room or if Edmund would prefer her to sleep in his quarters. I feel like he would. I mean, Edmund's in love with her, so obviously he would. And also, they're not going to be putting away this wedding portrait. I feel like to Edmund, it means a lot to, he knows it means a lot to Luna and also to Luther, because this is like the only image Luther has of his father. So, like, he knows nothing. His father literally died before he was born, like minutes before he was born. So, he, like, on the same day, right? So, he doesn't know anything about his father apart from what he is told and apart from this image, the wedding portrait of his parents. So I think for that reason, Edmund is not going to be putting that away. He's going to leave it there. And I don't know if he would want Luna to constantly be reminded of that in their marriage. So I feel like he would encourage her to share the royal quarters with him. But okay, the drama that happened, well, wedding, you know, went smoothly and all, and then we had the wedding party, and then there was a flippin' fire in the palace. So this is actually not the first night, like this is not the night that they have gotten married in, because stuff happened. So we had the wedding ceremony, then we threw a wedding party, and the guests came in. Suddenly, there was a fire that started here, and it like spread through this half of the palace, like this wing of the palace. It spread and then it came out, and then it went like around here, and everyone is pretty much hostage for a while as the flames went on, and the guests were just miserable, and people are starting to talk. They're starting to like say things like maybe it's a bad omen that they had a fire on the day of their wedding or on the night of their wedding that raised through. Some of them, like, there's rumors now that Vex is the one, like the spirit, the ghost of Vex is the one who set the fire because he doesn't approve of their marriage, of their wedding. So all of that drama happening, and they have yet to kind of get around to fixing things and cleaning up. So there is this whole kind of wing of the palace that is just charred. So they had to wait a day or two for everyone to be able to go back to the kingdoms, rest up, and then they had to throw this wedding party at a different date. So things have kind of happened, and yeah, everyone is more or less feeling a little bit. Let's turn autonomy back to full. I mean, Edmund and Luna are going into this as positively as possible, and I feel like Luna is grateful to Edmund for making sure that, you know, she didn't get sent back home, that she has a place in this kingdom, the kingdom that she married into. But I don't think she's ever gonna be able to love him the same way she loved Vex. So there is kind of that going on with them. And they're both trying to ignore the rumors, and they're both trying to look at it with a positive mindset. Like, you know, the fact that this marriage ensures that Luther and Luna will be taken care of. So why would Vex be against it? But people are saying stuff. Now also, I want to show you guys, High Queen Nimue was invited. And look at this! Look at this. I mean, we knew because we got the pop-up, so we were like pretty confident this was happening, but it is so exciting to actually see her like this. So when we jump back, like by the time we return to Ramong, there is going to be an heir, thank goodness, because this may be, I don't know Nimue's age right now, but she was quite up there. This may be her one and only baby that she ever gets to have, so you know, that's a big deal. And I don't know how their relationship is going, but I'm glad that it worked out enough for them to procreate. Like that was necessary. So there we go. I'm excited. I'm so excited for Nimue. I never imagined that I would see this side of her. So thank goodness things finally worked out. It took a while, but we got there in the end. So, like I said, all the nobles of Holcane are attending, and all the royals, but also we have some additional guests. So we have the Citadelies who've been invited because they know Edmund, I think, or yeah, they must be acquaintances with Edmund because he's the one that invited them. And then we also have Daphne Cicada that has shown up. Now, some of the someone didn't attend. I think Queen Zara's husband, High King Owain, did not come. So that's kind of intriguing, I suppose. So we've got Lion and Faina here. I am hoping that maybe while we're playing with the Holcanes, the same thing happens with Faina that did with Nimue. Like, fingers crossed that... Luna, what are you doing, honey? Get back into your wedding outfit. We're trying to, like, enjoy you as much as possible. Hopefully she gets some sort of... I mean, she and Faina are, like, super close. So hopefully Faina reaches out to her, wanting to expand the family, and then Luna can advise her to go ahead with it, because that is what we want to see. That is what we want to see. But I'm actually so glad that Luther is okay with his tetrular kotro and his Nalka getting married. Now, even though now Edmund is like his stepfather, he's always going to refer to Edmund as his tetrular kotro because that was his first relation to Edmund before Edmund became his stepfather. So there is that. There is that. But yeah, he's friends with his kotro and his Nalka, and that's pretty much it. He knows people, but he's never managed to befriend anyone. And I hope that changes and he doesn't become like Vex, because that was one of the things that I feel like we were all very concerned about when it came to Vex. He was just not someone who was able to fit in with the community in Holcane, with the kingdom, with the nobility and such. He somehow isolated himself. I guess the expectations of the royal family isolated him from the others. So hopefully Luther is able to break out of that. I feel like his kotro is different. His kotro has a good relationship with a lot of people. I mean, look at his friends. He counts among his friends the Citadelles and also Queen Zara. And then, interestingly enough, Master Soren Holbot. So he has like a bit of a soft spot for Soren, which is kind of cool because he's not really close with Soren's parents, but he likes Soren. And you know what I think it is? I think maybe he is hoping that Soren can become friends with Luther. Maybe Soren has an older Vlaro, but I think maybe he's pinning his hopes on Soren rather than the older one, which is Emmerich. And if you look at the relationship panel, Luther, even though he's not friends with Soren, he doesn't exactly know Emmerich, but he knows Soren. So I'm assuming his kotro is the one that introduced them, and he would like them to become friends, which is kind of cool. But yeah, as a result of that whole fire thing that happened, like everyone was crowding in one area, and it was pretty crazy. I think Luther has developed a fear of crowded places because of that incident. And then Luna, she has a fear of the dark. She's now got a fear of fire, unfulfilled dreams. I feel like that maybe goes into her just being afraid of how this marriage is going to be. Because I think the whole incident with Vex really, really terrified her. So Vex also would have died from poisoning. We have never been able to work out who might have poisoned him. But, yeah, definitely he died from poisoning. So I think she's got a fear. Like, maybe this marriage isn't going to last either. Something bad, something terrible is going to happen to Edmund. And I think that even though she's not in love with Edmund, she is friends with him and she's very terrified of that. What about you, Edmund? His is just unfulfilled dreams. Yeah, uncrowded places for Luther. Huh. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, why don't we, now that the wedding party is more or less done, a lot of these Sims, okay, seems as though they are heading home. So we'll kind of let them go where possible. Yep, okay, they're heading home. That's fine. We can work on some of the whims these guys have. So he wants to chat with Miss Hellicent. Hellicent is going to be marrying into the... Nope, we cannot. Okay, I suppose not. He does not want to chat with her. He wants to stargaze with Queen Luna, though. So pop that in. And then Luna wants to chat with King Lion. So Lion is her tetrular stabellum, because he's the one married to Fena. Okay, it's kind of good to see these two autonomously being romantic with each other, though. And Luna's like initiating it, so that's kind of cool. But I feel like a lot of it for Luna is just getting into the habit of intimacy because she knows it will be a requirement of the marriage. But you know, it's something that I feel like for her is going to develop out of habit, but it's not something that's going to have very much feeling in it. But I think Edmund's okay with that. He kind of knows her heart's always going to be with his brother, and that doesn't bother him too much. I feel like there's not that huge of an age gap. There actually isn't between Edmund and Luther. So Edmund has almost always been like a older brother / father figure to him. I think when Edmund was younger, then he was like a brother to, you know, baby Luther, and then as he got older, he became more like a father. So it's kind of interesting, the dynamic they have going on. But okay, why don't you stargaze? Are you done eating? Why don't you stargaze with Luna if possible? Let's spend some time stargazing with her, since that's what he would like to do. So let's go out and do that. Let's go out and do that. And slowly but surely, they are going to. It is cold, so you know what? Fine. Change back into your outerwear if you want. We need to go through and start flipping, fixing a lot of these things going on here. And where is... Okay. Nothing here, I think. Right, so we need to start replacing a lot of what was destroyed during the fire. So start working on this. And I wonder if you hire a maid, whether they come and they clean all of the soot on the floor. I'm not sure if I know them to do that. We'll see though. We will arrange for a maid to come through, some cleaning service to help us out. Okay. There we go. That's like a lot of stuff that got burnt, isn't it? That was a lot of stuff. Okay. So, slowly but surely putting the pieces back together, but there are going to be some stuff which, like, on the floor. All the soot. You can tell there's been a fire there. Okay, these two, they're having some nice stargazing time, but please change back into your wedding outfits. I want to enjoy it as much as possible. Okay, and then let's see. So for you, we've done that. She wants to chat with Lion. It is really late though, so you might want to invite Lion over in the morning to see if... I mean, she's in a good mood, but fact of the matter is, I don't think Lion is gonna rock up at 1 a.m. He's probably sleeping. So I'll let these guys do their own things, and then we'll check back in the daytime when we can get Lion over, I think. It's 4 p.m. on Wednesday. Prince Luther has returned from the academy. He had some milk bread that his Nalka made, and now I'm just getting him to freshen up a little bit so that he can do his homework. And the homework book looks pretty cool. I never actually paid attention. I didn't. But ever since I got the mod to like rehold the books, the homework book actually looks very cool. It looks like something you'd get from a witch academy, doesn't it? Look at that. Look at that. It doesn't have the terrible cover that it did before. So that's fun. But yes, I forgot about it for a bit, but then I was like, wait a second, I do have to get the kids to do their homework. Otherwise, how will they improve in life? So Edmund's doing that, and his kotro and Nalka have some whims, which went in an interesting direction. So I don't know why, but High King Edmund, like he and Luna, things have been going great between them. But he wants to flirt with Lord Dorian, with High Lord Dorian, who is one of his nobles in the kingdom. So I don't know what that is about, but he is going to invite High Lord Dorian. Oh look, Lion's here. And actually, it's funny because Dorian and Lion are brothers. And Luna wants to chat with Lion, but I think it's just like an innocent chat. Whereas it is definitely not that innocent with Edmund. And I've always felt that, you know, he knows Luna's never gonna love him like Vex, but like he's okay with that. And yet, he might be going to someone else for that closeness. But also, I feel like this flirtation here, maybe it's like this misplaced attachment that he has to Dorian, because for the longest time, Dorian was supposed to be his brother's best friend, and Edmund looked up to his brother a lot. So Dorian's like the only one, like the last connection left. I mean, yes, Luna was married to Vex before Edmund, but at the same time, Dorian knew Vex way before Edmund was born, because Edmund was born a lot later in his life. So that, I feel like that's like at this point in time, he really misses his brother, and Dorian is like the only connection he has. I think that's it. Okay, he's back here, so why don't you, I suppose, invite him in? Well, I'm gonna let those two chat, and hopefully nothing untoward happens here, because I really do not want them to get off, like, on a bad start. I just hope that things don't go downhill, because that seems to be a trait of these royal weddings and royal marriages. Is what, attempt to swoon? He's a proper simp, flippin'. Which one is the flirt? I don't actually know. Which one is the flirt? Is it attempt to swoon, or is it court? Let's try attempt to swoon and see if maybe that registers as a flirt. I'm not entirely sure. Oh, okay, so Luna just walked by. I don't think you want to be flirting with Luna in the same room. Okay, why don't you do sneak away somewhere? Let's actually get these two maybe here. Yeah, because Luna's gonna be in the study with not Vex, jeez. They look so much alike. With Luther, so maybe they'll have more privacy here, and like Vex's urn is right outside. So I don't know how Vex is gonna feel about this. But let's try attempt to swoon. I don't know how that's gonna go. Does that count as a flirt? Really? Really? Oh goodness. You guys are gonna do this out here? What if Luna sees you? We can't do this where Luna's gonna see you. Ugh. We need to try and get them away somewhere where nobody's gonna have eyes on them. Otherwise, this is gonna get very awkward very quickly, and we definitely don't want to be the ones to destroy their marriage, right? If anything, they will do it themselves. But even with like his family, the Holcane royal family has had a very turbulent history. I mean, for the longest time, everything was peaceful. It was fine and well. Edmund's mother and father were a united force. They had Vex early, and then they had Edmund really late in their marriage. And then, everything started to go downhill when Vex got married to Luna. That's when his parents started cheating on each other, having a falling out, and then they separated from each other, so they divorced, even though they were living in the palace still. And after that, Luna and Vex had a falling out. I think it was while Luna was pregnant. They had a falling out because of some misunderstanding, and I feel like one of you lovelies in a previous episode have gone back and actually looked at the episode before Vex died, before Luther was born. They did go to a restaurant to eat, and there were a bunch of Sims there who they came into contact with, and one of you lovelies actually broke down what happened and kind of, I think, narrowed it down to like, this is probably the Sim that poisoned him, or these are the suspects. So the two Sims that interacted with him during that time, or in the area when he left his food unattended. So I'm thinking that someone got to Vex as revenge for Luna because of the misunderstanding that happened between them. So even though Luna and Vex were in love with each other, the last days they spent together weren't the best. They were like in the middle of an argument. They weren't exactly on good terms when he died. So yeah, the stuff has kind of happened. Okay, do we have privacy? I flippin' hope so. Okay, nobody's down here. Now, does this count as a flood? Yes, it does. So it's the attempt to swoon. Oh, geez. So Lion walked in on them. Lion's walking in on them, and things are getting a little bit awkward. And he is still going. Oh, nope. Dorian. Hey, Dorian, like, accepted the first one, the swooning, but he did not accept the courting. He's happily married with his wife. They've got like 3 kids. I mean, actually, 3 with the 4th one on the way, I think. They've got 4 kids, more or less. So I think Dorian understands that Edmund is looking for some, like, a remnant of his brother in Dorian. And maybe he entertained that little bit, but this is not kind of what he's into. It could also be the fact that, you know, Lion's just walked in on them. So that's definitely an awkward thing to explain to Lion. What's going on here? And Edmund's embarrassed by this as well, I think. Oh goodness, that was a little messy. Okay, you're up here. That's fine. Doing your own thing. Have you done your homework? Yes, but his performance is quite poor, which hopefully the homework does help. And let's see, Luna, she is oblivious. She has no clue. I hope she doesn't find out, because I don't want this marriage to end up the same way that the last one did, which was very unhappily. Okay, Dorian has excused himself from the room, which is probably a good, like, probably a good thing. Let's try and disband the group. And then Lion has, like, he slid himself in between them. And, yeah, Dorian went to the bathroom, came back, and now his brother is acting like a buffer. Or he was, until he decided to leave. Okay, then. Okay, then. Well, okay, now Edmund's, like, going to kiss Luna. Of course, he's like, I need to give affection to Luna. I need to set myself right. I need to set myself right. Okay, that's fine. Why don't we leave them be to sort out their feelings, and then we'll jump back in at a later point. My goodness, it is storming 8:30 a.m. on Tuesday morning, and we have had like 3 more fires since the last time we were with these guys. 3 more fires that we have had. And the last one razed through the left wing of the palace, absolutely destroyed the kitchens, destroyed the dining room, a little bit of this area here, and then completely obliterated the like the wedding setup behind the palace. And I think at this point everyone in the kingdom is talking about how the marriage of High King Edmund and Queen Luna is cursed, and that Vex is not happy because not only were both wings of the palace burnt in the fires are becoming more frequent, and like no other household has had this kind of story happen, like where something has happened, like misfortune has struck them this frequently. And then of course the wedding set up at the back, the werewolf tree, that got burnt, all the lanterns, everything there got burnt. So as far as they're aware, they were speculating beforehand when this wing of the palace got burnt, but after the werewolf tree caught fire, I think everyone's saying there's no question that Vex's spirit is unhappy with the union. Anyways, since people are starting to talk, and obviously the servants that are coming in and out of the palace as well, Edmund is thinking even more about his brother and his seeking the companionship of Dorian a lot more. So he got another whim to flirt with High Lord Dorian, so he summoned Dorian to the palace. And then where's my head at? Yeah, the queen refuses to cook now. She's so afraid to cook that they have decided to hire a staff member to come and prepare the meals, because the queen just refuses to touch the kitchen. She feels as though someone is going to die from the fire. And she's like really, really worried at this point. So I don't know what's going to happen, guys. This is scary. This is kind of scary. Imagine if, if Luna did conceive, imagine if she died in childbirth. Like, that would be too sad. That would be way too sad. But okay, Edmund. Now also, something I want to explain to you guys in terms of succession, because I feel like the more we play, the more complicated the families get. And there's certain situations that we'll come across that we haven't beforehand. And I feel like this family is a good example to use because of how unique they are. So, initially, Vex was the heir. So he was supposed to be High King. So Vex married Luna. And therefore, because they were next in line, the plan was that their child would then succeed Vex, right? So they had Luther. Typically, Luther would have become High Prince to succeed his father, but his father died, right? His father died, and the reason why Luther didn't become the heir is his father wasn't the ruler of Holcane at the time he died. His father was not the head of the house at the time of his death. Therefore, Luther did not inherit the title of heir. Instead, Luther's grandparents were still ruling at the time. So that's why his uncle became the heir. That's why Edmund became the heir. Because the title only passes to the ruler's child, right? So for example, if Vex had died, even when Edmund was around, if Vex had died as High King, after his parents were already deceased, then the title would have passed to Luther. But because the High Queen Leia was still alive, then it went to her next child, which was Edmund. So that's the way things are working there. Now, the other thing, right now, Luna has married Edmund, and like I said, Luther, even though he's a stepson, cannot be the heir because the heir has to be he is a blood relative descendant, but it has to be a child of the ruler where possible, right? So Edmund has to have a child for that child to be the heir. It doesn't matter if it's with Luna or with someone else. It has to be Edmund's child because Edmund is on the throne. Now, if Edmund had a child with Luna and Luna died in childbirth, and then Edmund remarried another woman and she became queen, even though Luna was dead, Edmund's child then with Luna is going to be the heir because Luna is not the High Queen of Holcane. Edmund is the High King of Holcane. Therefore, his child would be the successor. So let me know if that's confusing, but that's how it works. Now, if Edmund did not have any children by the time he became an elder, if he did not have any children, actually, by the time he and his spouse, because the way it works, which is a little bit odd, is that the female, when she's an elder, obviously she can't have any more children, she can't conceive, but the male can if his partner is younger. That's why both the couple, the man and the woman, right, they have to be elders. But for example, if Edmund, if Luna and Edmund had no children and Edmund became an elder, he could remarry, and then Luna died, then he could remarry a younger female and maybe conceive a child with her. But if both he and his partner were elders, then they would be able to adopt another child. Edmund would be able to adopt a child that was not his to become his adopted heir. So in that circumstance, he would be able to adopt he would be able to adopt Luther to become his adopted heir. That is the only way Luther would be able to get access to the throne. So again, let me know if that is confusing or that makes sense, but easiest way to think about it is direct parent-child relationship between the head of the house, not the spouse, the head of the house, and their child. So yeah, that's the way things work. It doesn't matter if it's Luna's child or not, regardless of whether she's queen. Even though she is queen, that's not how we trace the successes. We trace it through the High King or the High Queen. Okay, anyways, Edmund, Dorian, it feels kind of unsafe for you to be for you guys to be here, especially because of what he wants to do. So why don't we, I feel like sneaking off downstairs is maybe a good idea. Or not. Why don't we go upstairs? Why don't we sneak upstairs? Let's go do that, because I don't think anyone's up here right now. So we might get a bit more privacy than if we were to stay. Oh, nope. Well, Luna's going up. I don't know where she's going up, but she is. Okay, well, we'll just try and find a space somewhere, okay? So where are you headed, Luna? We want to be in the opposite direction. Okay, Luna is headed to her chamber? No? Luna, where are you going? We're gonna just wait for Luna to go down. Bye-bye. Bye, Luna. You know what? Let's come out here. I'm a bit paranoid with Luna walking up and down. We'll go out at the balcony because nobody's here. We have the utmost privacy. And then he is going to attempt to swoon because I think that's the flirt option. Okay, and Dorian is taking it. Yes, he is. Now they're having a bit of a suggestive conversation. And our bills just keep going out. Oh my goodness. Well, we're gonna excuse ourselves because bills, my goodness. I don't think we want to be there when Luna comes and we're still flirting. Please don't misunderstand Luna. And Edmund, please don't do anything. You guys are like really flirty right now. Helicent is conversing. Can you go? Go. Don't converse. Let's go. We're going. Is she... She's not jealous, thank goodness. She has not even she hasn't picked up on anything. She hasn't realized anything out of the ordinary. Thank goodness. Let's just get out of there. Let's not be implicated in actual behavior that we are doing. Okay, let us pay the bills here. And then I think we will be good to wrap up the episode. Okay guys, with that said and done, I'm going to leave off here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. When we come back next time, Luna and Edmund are going to be having their royal consummation, of course. Fingers crossed Luna conceives so that we can have an heir for Edmund and for the kingdom of Holcane. And then, of course, Luther is going to have his half-sibling. And this is going to be the first situation of a half-sibling as well. I feel like this family is the most complex family out of any in the witch kingdoms. So it makes things kind of interesting, I feel. Okay, well, these three are making me very nervous, but I am going to leave before anything happens. So, bye-bye.